Hello all and welcome to our weekly series here at fantasyfootballhub.co.uk, where we bring you the best captaincy options ahead of Gameweek 9, courtesy of FPL legend and all-around great guy Abdul aka FPL Salah. I'm standing in for James this week, who's on holiday. Abdul, another great Gameweek for you last week, I see.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, it was another good game. I used my wild card. I got 68 points. Went from around 67k to around 62k to 27k. So yeah, it was a good one. Got a wee bit lucky with I picked Armstrong over Tony, and I got Livermore off the bench. But yeah, overall I'm pretty happy with it.
Fantastic. And the captain pick last week delivered again. The king, he just doesn't stop, does he?
Yeah. He's just been unbelievable this season, isn't he? He's on a different level. I mean, no bias, but I think he's currently the best player in the world. There's no doubt about that. So, yeah, he's gonna be hard to bet against in the upcoming weeks.
He is. Apparently, he's changed his handle on Twitter to FPL Abdul. Because of you. So anyway, to all our watchers, if you haven't subscribed just yet, please press the subscribe button at the bottom right hand corner of the screen and set the alerts so you don't miss our brilliant Fantasy Premier League content and live streams right here on this channel. Also, please press the like button if you enjoy our content. As you may be able to tell, Abdul does have a slight cough or sniffle or whatever, so we'll do our best to get through. Thank you so much for coming on, Abdul. Do really appreciate it. So let's get into the meat of the video, and this week we have a absolute classic form versus fixtures debate. It's probably the biggest one in terms of how obvious this debate is. I've seen in a few years, I think. So who are we looking at first, Abdul, for Game Week 9 captaincy?
Yeah, so we look at the main man, Mo Salah. I mean, he's been, as I said, he's just been phenomenal this season. He's got 7 goals, 5 assists. He's only blanked in 1 game so far. He's got 5 double-digit hauls. He's on 81 points. Obviously, the highest score in the game. It's 27 points ahead of Jamie Vardy, who's ranked in, who's the second highest scorer. So, I mean, he's got the highest. You can see his XG and XA stats on the screen there. He's got the highest XG and XA in the league so far, and he's also top for shots in the box and shots on target. So, I mean, he's going to be really hard to bet against. And I mean, as you're saying, the form versus fixtures. Obviously, they've got Man United away this week, but I don't know. I don't think this fixture is as hard as it looks on paper. Man United have, they've conceded 10 goals, so they're 14th for goals conceded, and they've also got an XGC of 11.3, which is 11th. So. They've not been good at the back. They've only kept 1 clean sheet. So, yeah, I think Salah is definitely, among the top captain options this week.
With Varane out as well, that only kind of heightened that.
Yeah.
And Maguire, well, I don't say he's out of form. His performance last weekend wasn't the best, was it? And Shaw just seems to go missing from what I can see. I've owned Shaw all season, and so I tend to watch the players a bit more. And Shaw just seems to be, whenever United concede a goal, Shaw seems to be nowhere near the play. But on top of that, obviously, Man United in previous seasons do tend to play for 0-0s, don't they, in these massive games. Do you think that is going to be the case this weekend?
I don't know. I mean, I wouldn't like to put. I mean, I think definitely Ole will. If he's offered a draw in this game, he'd bite your hand off. So yeah, I think they probably would go for a tight game, and they'll play defensively. Whether they're, I mean, I really doubt they'll be able to contain Liverpool though. With the form, not only the form that Salah's in, the form Liverpool are in as well. They've scored. I mean, they top the charts for attacking metrics. For teams as well. They've scored the most goals. So yeah, I think Ole. I would imagine he will go into this game with a defensive mindset, but I don't think it'll make much difference.
Okay. And this week he is up against the player who a lot of people wildcarded for and brought in specifically for this fixture in Game Week 9, ROMELU Lukaku. What are your thoughts on him this week, Abdul?
Yeah, so Lukaku, I mean, it's just, I mean, he's not got any attacking returns in the last 4, but I mean, I think the main factor here is, I mean, before we talk about his fixture, I think, we should note that he has been really unlucky not to have scored in the last 3 or 4 games. I mean, he had a marginal offside goal disallowed last week. He hit the post against Southampton. So he could have had a couple of goals in the last few. But yeah, as I was saying, the opponents this week are Norwich, who are the worst side in the league. They've conceded 16 goals, so they've conceded the second most goals, and they're also second bottom for XGC as well at 15. So, I mean, I'm confident in Lukaku this week. I know a lot of people might just see the 4 blanks and just see, that he's not scored. But I mean, if you look deeper into it, if you look at his stats, and how he's been playing, I don't think it paints the full picture. So yeah, I mean, my armband is currently on Lukaku.
It is it? That's really interesting, because I thought that you would be the one person who would go with Salah regardless. Just a bit more now. We've got on screen just a few stats as as you highlighted the kind of XGC in terms of Norwich, who've got the second worst in the league, but Man United, as you say, they're not the best. So far this season, I think they're 11th best defensively, in terms of XGC, and they concede on average 1.4 goals per game, while Liverpool, I think, score on average 2.7 goals per game. So right down the bottom, what we've got here is the kind of predicted sort of score lines based on the team's XG against the XGC, and we can see that Chelsea against Norwich, the predicted a Chelsea kind of 3-1 sort of win. Interestingly, Chelsea's defence, this has nothing to do with this video, but in the last 6 game weeks, Chelsea's defence has been the 17th worst for XGC, which is an absolutely incredible stat. Just goes to prove how incredible Mendy has been in goal for them. Save news cage. And Man United and Liverpool looks to be kind of 3-2, 4-2 to Liverpool, so we should be in hopefully in for an absolute goal fest there. But some interesting ones there. I think I go for Lukaku as well. It just looks a no-brainer. I don't know if I've got some bias, because as soon as Lukaku signed, we look at the fixtures. That this game week 9 fixture just kind of shone out as a beacon. I don't know whether I'm kind of biased by that, but wouldn't be surprised to see Liverpool score more. You've got a differential or two for us as well, Abdul.
So I think I think one of the players I thought has been a stand-up pick in the last few games is Harry Kane. Yeah, so I think Kane, he's definitely picked up his form, in the last few games. And in the last 2, he's actually been, second for XG and XA. So, he's definitely, improved in his stats and his performances. And so have Spurs actually. They've scored 5 goals in the last 2 games. So they've kind of, they've picked up as well. They've clicked into gear, and Son's kind of been on form from the start. And with Kane coming back into form, they have got like a formidable partnership, and then we seen what Harry Kane done last season. I think it was 27 goals and 14 assists. He is an FPL heavyweight. You really can't write him off. So I think he's looking back on it. And even though West Ham is a toughest fixture, I still think he's more than good enough to get a big haul here.
Indeed. And Man United next week, just interestingly, we've already touched on Man United's kind of frailties as well. It could be shot for next week as well, for those looking to kind of bring him in maybe this week. And you have a final differential for us as well.
Yeah, so this guy, Jamie Vardy, the kind of forgotten man. He's it's unbelievable. He's the highest scoring forward in the game. He's got 7 goals, and he's only 17% owned, and he's been largely ignored, due to Lukaku and Ronaldo, but he really needs to be considered, as the premium striker of choice now. He's proved his worth. I mean, he's got goals and assists in his locker. He's got 7 goals so far this season, but he got 14 assists last season. So he's one of those players where, we've seen him score against, score big against, the big teams as well, like City last season. So he's a 90-minute man. He's on penalties. So I really think he's a good option this week as well. Again, the fixture is the toughest fixture, but I think Brentford are the type of team who we've seen how they play the attack. So I can see this game actually being quite high scoring, something like a 2-2 or a 3-2 to one of them. And, if Leicester score, then, Vardy is likely to be involved.
I think it's interesting. I think at the start of the season when Leicester signed Daka, and obviously I mean, Hinacho in particular played absolutely fantastic well in the last season. I think we thought maybe we were starting to see the end of Vardy and his minutes would be managed, but it just hasn't been. And when he's obviously up against Lukaku, Ronaldo, Kane, Salah, maybe Mane, De Bruyne in terms of price and Son, it's tough to bring him in, but he looks to be a fantastic option every single week. And and the fixtures, the next three you mentioned, Brentford, they got Arsenal next week, who are not pulled up any trees defensively, and then Leeds the week after, all over the shop. So another fantastic option there, Abdul. Superb stuff. So thank you for joining me this week. James will be back next week with Abdul. You can have James' beautiful flowing locks instead of my big bald head next week. If you liked what you watched, please press the like button. And remember to subscribe to the channel at the bottom right-hand corner of the screen. Our handles on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok are at FFH_HQ. And our website is fantasyfootballhub.co.uk, where you'll find everything you need for Fantasy Premier League and Fantasy Football, all under one roof, including player comparison tools, the fixture ticker, Opta stats, top player team reveals, including Abdul's, points predictions tools, and much, much more. During the tens of thousands of other fantasy managers sign up to the hub to use all our amazing resources, just click the top link in the description below. We'll be back next week looking at the best captain for Game Week 10. Goodbye for now.